start recording. We're recording. All right, so today we're going to be talking about a few different things. It's all going to be about the merge cube. But in order to do the merge cube, you got to have a few prerequisites satisfied. Stop it. That is not right. And we'll clear off all my notifications so you guys don't see when my bills are due or who's emailing me. This is my phone, or the screen on my phone.
Neat. So
what I do with this is so all of these AR applications that we build in the lab and we work with different things, almost all of them are Android applications. Now what I'm going to go over today with you is also available on iPhone. So if you really want to be an Apple developer, we actually have a Mac over in the corner with Xcode, and you're welcome to do pretty much this on an iPhone as well. I'm not sure which iPhones support this, and not every Android device supports this. Most all of them do. More support the Vuforia library than they do AR Core. But and you can see the little Vuforia logo down there in the corner. So Vuforia is a software engine that runs inside of Unity. It's actually a Unity package that you can download, although you can get Vuforia separately and run it in Android Studio or whatever you want. And what it does is it maintains a database. In this case, the database is actually built into the app of images. If I look at this merge cube over here, I can see that there are patterns of light and dark, and there are unique images on each face. And when the software sees it, it knows by recognizing those patterns of contrast what to do with it. In this case, I've got a 3D model with a video texture applied to it that's got weather data from Hurricane Michael. Actually, it's time there were a lot of hurricanes going on around the world.
I was going to say, is this like real time, but it's superimposed from?
Yeah. I just made a video off of the web, and there's the actual Hurricane Michael. The video actually runs until the hurricane sort of makes landfall. But I can take any 3D model and put it on top of that cube. Like, just in time for Halloween. I really get a lot of mileage out of this skull. I really do. And notice the eyes are always, it's creepy. The eyes are always looking at you, man. And then I've got this little, almost like a
Mars attacks.
Say what? Yeah, it's very Mars attack. I've got a Vincent Price soundboard.
A wine to conjure memories of taste buds in transport.
And then, just in time for Halloween. Where'd it go? Anybody seen Hellraiser?
Wit.
The movie Hellraiser, the Hellraiser movies. I think they've made like 18 of them or something like that.
I mean, it sounds like nobody has so far. Not familiar.
Oh, that's too bad. If you did, you would know what this box is. So the apps that you make with a merge cube, there's a lot of apps that are out there, and it's really easy in Unity to make your own merge cube apps. And I'm going to kill Airmore for now. So this is the MergeCube website, and I'm looking for a good picture of the MergeCube because I probably haven't shown it on the video yet. But here's one you can get them from Amazon. You can get them all over, and the original MergeCube is like 2.5 inches on the side, 3 inches on the side. And they're made out of foam rubber, so they're very soft and spongy. But they, when they first came out, they were $20 a piece. And if you get them online, they're still about $20 a piece. But right after they came out, Walmart had mountains of them for $1 because they weren't selling. And so they marked the price down to $1. And Alan Strockover in meteorology literally filled up the trunk of his car with them. And I got a bunch of them. And then we got on the crazy idea of, wow, you know, I bet I could find those images online. And you can. You can find the 6 images that make up a MergeCube. And you can print them out and you can put them on your own cube, however you want to work with it. So this is a bigger one that we've made ourselves, and we want to go get the large format plotter across the street and print one out that's maybe 4 feet on a side.
That'd be fun.
That would be fun. And then set it up in the middle of the room. You give everybody the app, and you could have a bunch of people all seeing the same sort of thing. It's got lots of potential. Maybe not from a marketability standpoint. And a lot of the apps that you find for the MergeCube are they're almost like little Fisher-Price toys. Even they've got a headset, a VR headset. You can stick your phone in, put it on your face, and the camera works. And there's games where the cube becomes the joystick, right? So it can tell the orientation of the cube, so you can roll stuff around. And I saw one where a guy's using the cube as like an AR business card, where each side actually looks into a bigger space. So if you sort of think of each side as a window into a bigger virtual space, he's got 6 different things, and they're all portfolios of his work.
That's awesome.
You know, it's really clever. Although, you know, you got this cube you got to drag around with you, and if you're going to show it to anybody, you've got an app you got to have on your phone, or they've got to have the app on their phone. So it seems like it's more trouble than it's worth, but that's all right. So let's assume that you've got a MergeCube or several MergeCubes, and I want to develop an application for a MergeCube using Unity. First thing I need to do is I need to have Android build support, assuming I'm going to an Android device, or iPhone build support, if that's the direction I'm going to. Then when I get into my Unity project, and what I've got here, this is a blank Unity scene. So it's got nothing in it, no libraries, no dependencies, no nothing. It's just a blank slate. First thing I'd do, which really this would have been done when I created the project, but I just want to make sure that it's set for Android, and it's not set for Android. So I'm going to switch platform to Android, which this shouldn't take a minute because there's no scripts in this and no models or textures or anything. There we go. All right. Then I'll look under project settings and change a couple of things. Resolution, presentation don't really matter. Some of these things don't really matter. Let's see. We'll go with .NET 4 for my API compatibility. And then one thing that I know I absolutely need to check is at the very bottom of this list under XR settings, I need to check Vuforia augmented reality supported. And this is going to take it a couple of minutes because as soon as I press that button right there, Unity's going to look at the project manager and realize, hey, he doesn't have Vuforia installed, so I've got to install Vuforia. So it's now the editor is talking to the package manager and it's downloading the stuff that it needs for Vuforia. While that's going on, I'll talk to Vuforia for just a minute. So originally Vuforia was a separate thing. If I wanted to use it with Unity, I had to download a separate asset package and install it into Unity. And now Vuforia is just a Unity package. So when I get Vuforia, I'm not getting it from the Vuforia website, I'm getting it from Unity, which makes it marginally easier, marginally. One thing I still have to do through Vuforia, though, is I have to register as a developer. And I actually have to do that twice because Merge has its own SDK, and I have to register as a developer for Merge as well. However, when I got these SDKs, I talked to both of these companies, and I said, look, I teach this in a course. I'm not using it for commercial reasons. Can I just distribute these API keys like wild rice at a wedding or something like that? And I couldn't think of a good metaphor. But they said sure. So the API keys that I use in this, if you decide you want to do something like this, I can share those with you freely without any sense of guilt whatsoever. All right. Okay, so Vuforia Augmented Reality is now it's checked and it's installed, and I've got a new folder in my assets folder called Resources. Inside of that is a Vuforia configuration asset. And here's a spot for my API license key. And I've got a little text document here in which I keep these impossibly long keys. All right. So there it is on the screen. You guys remember that?
For the next exam.
Yeah. Here's the answer to number 4. All right. So Vuforia.
Got right. We get an A on the exam. Right?
That's right. That's right. I'll just go. You get this right, I'm giving you an A in the
I was going to
course.
say there should be like an A+ tier on this.
Yeah. Okay, and that's only one of 2 keys. Now the next thing I have to do is I have to import the Merge Cube SDK, which this was written for Unity version 2017. So that's, I don't know how many versions of Unity, but it's 2 version years ago. So what I'm going to see is there's some things that need to be fixed, because the Merge Cube SDK has not changed in 2 years, but I promise you Vuforia has. And if it works like it did on my desktop, there will be 3. Well, only 1. All right. So what's happened is the Vuforia SDK has changed some identities, and this is one of them, right? So Vuforia runtime.instance.has initialized. When this was written, they thought it was bool, but it must not be. So a wait until statement is a C# thing for Unity. And it checks the value of a bool expression, and it's just going to wait until it turns true. In this case, I have to change this line from just a regular bool to check this expression to see if it resolves to true, and this should do the same thing. So I make that one change. No errors. All right. So I have my Merge Cube SDK installed. I have Vuforia installed. I have one last API key. I got, oh, that's not the right thing. I'm losing track of what I was doing. Where did it go? This is confusing. Oh, there. So I go to the merge menu, settings initializer. So the next thing it wants me to do is make a quick start scene, which is really where everything, there we go. There's my merge configuration. Wow. So you have to create a quick start scene, and there's my quick start scene. And now I can put in my other API key. There we go. All right. So in my merge cube scene, I've got, there's a ginormous, it stretches off into infinity. There's my canvas that it gives me. And then I have a merge multi-target. And then I have the merge cube SDK. All I really need to do is make whatever I want to show up in this scene be a child of this merge multi-target scalar root. I think that's, let me look at the documentation. Yep. So let's say I've got a model of something that I want to have show up here. And I'm going to go dig something out of another project. What is a good one? This is handy.
I like the file name Skull Orgy.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good one too. So I'll create new folders for these models to go in. Drop these FBXs in there. Because I like skulls. Skulls are cool. I'll extract materials so that they show up like they're supposed to. We'll create an empty object under my target scalar root, and I'll name it York because that's the name I like to call all of my skulls. Reset its position so it's at the center of my merge cube, and then I'm going to make my skull object and my jaw object children of that. So this purple box, this purple and black box, represents the size of the merge cube in the camera view. So if I do something that is kind of smaller than the box, then say right here on the eye sockets, the box itself, the actual merge cube itself, is going to be visible. The same thing where it's sticking out of the head. So I want to position my box to where it's more or less totally hidden by the skull geometry. The model also gets its lighting from the scene. So however I set up the lights around this model, is the way how it's going to be lit up when we see it in the phone. And these textures still are not right. I don't understand why Unity, sometimes when I bring in an FBX file, all the materials and textures just come in perfectly, and other times I have to go through this process of extracting the materials and textures so that I'm able to reassign them manually. But that gives me a much better looking sculpt. So now that I've got the model, and this could be a model of anything. You know, it could be a model of the Earth, it could be a model of the skull, a solar system, and it could be as interactive as you want. So pretty much any kind of game prefab can be attached to this. And then I will save the scene. Go back through the give it a name I'll recognize. Wow, that was nice. I'm used to having to change that in 2 places, and go figure. Also, see, minimum API level 23, highest installed. Okay, we got to be pretty good. Build settings for Android. I'm going to build this APK. And while that's doing that, oh, look at here. I got one right here. Now, building and deploying to Android can have its own set of pitfalls. You've got to have Android Studio installed on the machine and up to date. And Unity is making some changes to their installer where they're trying to manage that themselves. So when I download the Android build support for Unity, I can have Unity just, hey, you know, whichever version you want Unity, you download it, you put it wherever you want. I actually don't need to see it. Unless you actually need to open up the Android project and do something on some level inside of that, then Unity actually has everything that I need to do to completely build and deploy my Android application. And if I do, for some reason, need to get into the application from Android Studio, I can export an Android Studio project that I can then open in Android Studio and make those changes that I need. But I have yet to run across a use case where Unity is not able to do everything that I want it to do. Of course, my requirements are kind of simple. Oh, there we go. We're done. Okay. So, and what I've got here is I've got this Wi-Fi file explorer. So I've got a Wi-Fi FTP server running on my phone. A lot of times this is just the best way to, especially this phone sometimes gets a little finicky when it's trying to connect to a PC. So a lot of times this is just the easiest way. So however you do it, whether you've connected the phone to the computer through USB, which if I've got it connected through USB and the phone's in developer mode and all that jazz, then I can actually deploy and run directly from Unity, where it'll install the APK on the phone and start it up. But I'm not doing that. Going this route. And going to go back through Airmore. So here's my APK in my File Explorer. I tell it that I want to install, and it installs. Yeah, and it's going to tell me, what? I want to install. Oh, install anyway. App installed. Don't send. Open. First time you run, it's going to ask you for some permissions about using the audio, using the video. Oh, what did I do wrong? What am I forgetting?
Try this one. You used a smaller one before.
Oh, wait a second. All right, so that one.
We have a black skull.
We have a black skull, so there's. All right, so there's some
The
settings.
lighting off?
There's probably some work I need to do. Whoa, there we go. That's working this time.
What if you have both in?
It's gonna pick one.
Okay.
And really,
Do you
what?
have multiple of them?
Do what?
Could you like have two merge cubes in the same scene and have two different objects associated with them?
Well, it's not gonna know which
Which one is
object,
which?
one goes to which.
Yeah.
And really, what it's doing is it only looks at one face at a time.
Yeah.
When we were printing these out, I had the printouts all on the table, and I just hit it with an application to see what it was going to do,
Yeah.
and it just picked one, and it lost its damn mind because there was 6 of them. So the skull was just sort of like flopping around on the desktop like a fish, going from photo to photo to photo. It was.
I mean, it sounds like.
It was cool. It was cool. All right. So what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? We'll close that. Well, I didn't give it any lights aside from the directional light. Maybe I need to give it more lights. So we'll come in here to York, create a light, create a point light for it. Give it some top lighting, some bottom lighting. So,
I don't know. I can't hang around with you guys. But maybe one of the friends will give you a tour.
we're in the middle of a class here.
Oh, yeah, okay. So the class will be gone.
All right, so we're going to try this once more again with some lights. Now, it should not take as long the second time to build this because I didn't make any significant changes to the model. A lot of times, especially if there's any lighting calculations or baked lighting that needs to be calculated before it can finish the build can actually take forever. But hopefully this won't take quite so long. Then when that's done, I'm going to copy it back over the phone. We'll see how it works. And it looks like it's done. That was much quicker. There's my notification that the APK is done. Copy it over. Kill the application on my show me something. Come on. Okay, well, we're getting some light. It's a baby skull. It's a big grown-up skull. Hey, Dad, all the other skulls at school are mean to me. I don't know. Okay, so, I mean, you can see the process. Once you get everything installed, the hardest part about this is getting all the pieces parts installed. You got to get Android Studio set up. You got to get the Merge Cube SDK. You've got to get the Vuforia package installed. Once you get all those things installed, though, putting together a Merge Cube app is really nothing more than building your scene around this this little preview block. Because that preview block is everything. It's your mode of interaction. It's your benchmark to the real world. It's the scale. It's the orientation. It's everything about your application.
So hypothetically, could you create like something else in this scene or other things in this scene, and they will all show up relative to the Merge Cube?
Yes. Yes. Now, let's do something.
So like, for example, let's say I made another skull and I put it like 6 feet over to the right or 8 feet over to the right or something. And then when I'm looking at the AR app, it will show that skull at the location of the Merge Cube and then the other skull rotating around it.
Yes. Yes. I can demonstrate that for you here shortly. One of the things I'm going to do is, instead of futzing around with lights, I'm going to give a little bit of emission to these materials so everything comes out nice and visible. There we go. That should be good enough.
Sorry.
All right. And let's say I just, you want to see what do you want to see the other skull do? You want to see it spin around or something? Or,
Yeah, that'll be fun.
okay.
Rotate around the other skull, the central skull.
Yeah, I'll make the other skull a little bit smaller too. And I want to do this through an animation. Maybe like a 10-second animation. So I'll move it over here. 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 All right, so maybe a little bit longer than 10 seconds. Move it over here. Here, and then finally back to where it was. And I'm going to copy my transform, go to my last keyframe, paste it in, so it should come back to its starting point. And then while I'm doing that, I'll have it rotate almost a full circle. Alrighty. Now, one of the things about it is what I'm expecting to happen is that there'll be times where we can't see the second skull because it's going behind the camera, right? The cube, or at least one of the faces of the cube, always has to be in the camera view. So that's a design consideration that you have to have. And I can only get, how far away I get from the cube is determined largely by the quality of my camera. As long as the software is able to pick out these patterns of contrast and brightness, then it's going to work. But if I get too far away where the software no longer has the resolution in the camera view to do that determination, then I'll lose the effect. And things that are so far away that they're out of the camera view may actually be being rendered by the application, but they're just not going to be visible because of where they are. All right, so go back to this. I'm going to overwrite it. Drop this over there onto that. Whoop. And on my phone, I'm going to kill that. Install that again. Install anyway. Don't send and open. Where is my other skull? I sure don't see it anymore.
I thought I just saw it pull out of the TV screen for a second.
Oh, there it goes. Ooh. So, I mean, there's a lot of times where I can't look at that second skull because the merge cube will go out of the merge cube will drop out of the camera view, and I'll lose it. All right. I thought that was cool. I don't know about you guys. But that was a little bit of everything. Talked about Android, augmented reality, merge cube, Vuforia. I like this stuff. Especially something like this where the library makes it so easy to slap something together. You know, once you get all the moving parts in place, then the development cycle speeds up really fast. But that's all I had planned for today. Has anybody got any questions? I like having class down here better, I think.
Yeah, let's keep it.
Let's just do this. Let's just keep doing this. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, guys. I gotta go car shopping.